In a relatively small, specific region of the upper part of the nasal cavity, including the superior concha, there is a sudden transition from respiratory tract epithelium to olfactory epithelium, which is readily apparent here in this image. Goblet cells and mixed glands of the respiratory tract epithelium become abruptly diminished and stop a bit further along the olfactory epithelium out of the view of this particular image. Olfactory mucosa is concerned with the sense of smell and fundamentally is nervous tissue. Olfactory mucosa is a pseudostratified columnar type, taller than the adjacent respiratory epithelium I showed you a moment ago. The lamina propria underlying the olfactory epithelium does have numerous glands, but these are specialised serous glands called Bowman's glands, and they provide fluid to wash away old odoriferous substances. One of their distinctive structural characteristics is that their ducts enlarge just under the surface epithelium, as you're able to see here, and also here. Olfactory epithelium is made up of 3 cell types. The most numerous are sustentacular cells, or supporting cells, and they're similar to glial cells and secrete odorant binding proteins. They extend from the basement membrane down here all the way to the surface. Their nuclei occupy a more apical position in the epithelium than do those of the other cell types, and they stain darker, which aids their identification here. The olfactory receptor cells have slightly paler nuclei, and they're bipolar neurons and are the critical cells of the epithelium, function-wise. They extend the full thickness of the epithelium, and their axons enter the central nervous system. A dendrite goes to the surface, where it sprouts several long non-motile cilia, which bear the receptors for the odoriferous molecules. Each olfactory receptor cell, or neuron, sends their axon down through the basement membrane. It joins with others deep in the lamina propria to form an axon bundle. You can see this bundle of nerve fibres going along in this region here. This axon bundle will travel to the olfactory lobes of the brain, only a very short distance. The nuclei in these axonal bundles that you can see very clearly are, of course, those belonging to Schwann cells, and that's characteristic of peripheral nervous tissue. The third cell type in olfactory epithelium is the basal cell, and they'll be located obviously along here, the very basal part of the epithelium. It's the stem cell. It's able to divide and differentiate into both sustentacular cells and olfactory neurons. Olfactory neurons are very unusual in that they can be replaced by new neurons, even in the dog. This is pretty important because the cell bodies of these neurons are very exposed.